Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I want to start putting some comics away. I got a long box filled of comics that I read, and I have a big old stack of comics that I read that I didn't put in the back room. So rather than put everything away and still have a stack here, I'm going to do a video so I can take everything in the back, and then for the rest of the night, just start sorting comics, putting them in the general population. You know, what I do is I read comics, I put a stack over here. When this stack gets too high, or I don't have enough guests, or I just have a hole in the schedule, or whatever, I'll do a comics video, just talk about them, like short reviews, little discussion, and then I bring them in the back room, and then I alphabetize them, put them in a long box, and then take that long box and put it all in the big, what I call the general population. So this is always a lot more fun when I have somebody to riff with. I like having conversations with people about comics. So here is the link if anybody wants to pop in. Usual disclaimers: if I don't know who you are, turn on your camera. That just keeps the nonsense down. So, first and foremost, Heroic Tales 2 is at the printers. I don't hear anything. You don't usually get any emails or anything like that on the weekends. So I'm hoping to get some news about everything on Monday. The I got the low resolution prints. That's the first step. So what you do is you got to get your files formatted. So that's called pre-press. You put them all in order the way you want, and then you contact Comic Wellspring, and they have a form that you fill out, and then the last thing you do is upload the file. I have three files because I have the A version, the B version, and the C version. The A version being the Renzo cover, the B version being, I call it the Jose Howard cover because it's Jose Garcia and Josh Howard. It just flows better than the Howard Garcia. Oh, Howard Garcia actually sounds pretty good now I said it out loud. And then the cosplay cover. The cosplay cover is by far the rarest. So if you want to get that, now's the time to jump in. I always overprint. Um, and then they email, we go back and forth, things that you forgot, whatever, check it out. They send you a low resolution scan. This is how it's going to look, and you kind of look at it, make sure that everything's within the margins, make sure it looks good. And then you say, sure. Then they send you a physical proof. Now, the physical proof is that's the do or die stage. You know what I mean? I have the comic in my hand and I look at it and I I read it as if I never saw it before. And then I look at it again looking for mistakes. And then I put it away. And then like a couple of hours later, I'll look at it again. You know what I mean? Just to get all the emotion out. And then I'll tell my wife to look at it. If anybody's over here, the mailman, Uber driver, I tell them to look at it, see if there's any mistakes. And then once that's going, there's just a go ahead. You hit the button and the press starts. And that could be a week, that could be 2 weeks, depending upon the how busy the printer is. And then they mail it to me. So there you go. That's the progress. So let's go down the list of comments. We got Ben Sabar, voice actor. How you doing? Good to see you, Ben. We got 58 Underground. How you doing? Good to see you. How's everything? Again, open invite. Turn your camera on if I don't know who you are, because that just cuts down on the shenanigans. Zach 10, I got my blessing. Hoo, 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 hoo. Monomachus, hail John and chat. Good to see you. Is that a Warhammer? War campaign, I meant to say, but Warhammer came out of my mouth. Ernest, looking forward to Heroic Tales 2. Good, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so much better than the first one. If I do say so myself, the Mary Sue story is so much better than the Patriarch story. But I'm biased because I just love, like, I don't know, I'm just fascinated with this character. And Heroic Tales 3 is already written. The script has already been sent to Renzo. The Patriarch number 1 has already been written, and Renzo is starting it, or started it. He already drew the variant cover for it. I'll show that soon. And then the Patriarch number 1 is 45 pages of story, but I'm probably going to make it 52 pages. So I'll have a letters page. So I'll start asking people for letters. And I want to have an article written by Regina Lopez, the crazy stalker reporter, about some political event that happened in the 50s, as in my superhero world. That'll show a little bit how the government and superheroes work. And so that'll be 1 page, 2 pages. So that's 47. And then that leaves 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 5 pages that I might want to do like a brochure of Science City. So that is the tentative that's the tentative layout for that. I already have the back cover done. I already showed the back cover. It's the family sitting around reading comics. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure says professionals don't use purple. Just ignore the last one. Yeah, if you ignore all costume superheroes since the Phantom, then yes, you're absolutely right. But I live here in reality. Yeah, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, except for the people who actually make the comics, like Jack Kirby. Warning you right now. 2 parts Tim Hortons, 1 part Cafe Bustelo. I need a burst of energy. All right, so we got enough people in the chat. Let's talk about comics. I will throw this in here. Oh, channel news before we get started. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., I will do Horace H. Hoover, #1, Fabrizio Aiello's. I love that freaking comic. So that'll be fun. The target audience is me. Fabrizio said, he didn't even know me. That's how bizarre it is. He just sat down and said, I'm going to make a comic book for some crazy fat lunatic over in Long Island. And that guy's going to like it. And he was right. And he was absolutely right. But Rick Veitch, in the chat, let me know if you know who Rick Veitch is. He's one of my favorite comic book creators. He's most famously known for taking over Swamp Thing after Alan Moore, and just did a bizarre, wonderful take on Swamp Thing after Alan Moore. I mean, that's like going on playing rock after the Beatles or Jimi Hendrix. You know what I mean? And he did a great job. He did The One. He did he did Brat Pack. He did a lot. He did a Question miniseries that I absolutely loved. It's probably my favorite comic book version of the Question. But anyway, he'll be on Thursday at 11:30 a.m. And then Friday night we're going to be doing It's Clobbering Time around midnight, and that'll be Rogues Galleries, villains of superheroes. So there you go. That's all I have scheduled for the week so far. Now I'm doubting. I think I'm missing something. And now I'm looking at my calendar. Oh, where am I? October. Okay. I just realized I double booked. I got to talk to somebody. Okay. We'll worry about that later. So let's check out comics. So this is Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, #17. In Search of Bruce Lee. This is half comic, half text, so it's articles about kung fu movies, and then it opens up with a Shang-Chi story. The guy who has magic rings and the real Shang-Chi. And then it ends with Sons of the Dragon, George Perez's earliest Marvel work. So, I do a weird thing to limit myself. Every couple of weeks, I'll put in an order for back issues, and I have comics that I'm collecting, but like I'll get one more issue of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu because I could easily make $300 a month of back issues. So like this comic, and I'll point it out when I do that. So this is a comic that I collect. Like once a month, I'll get like a back issue of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. So that's that. Let's put a couple of comics over here on the lip. Okay, so now we have Miss Tree. Okay, this is 23. Okay, so 23. This is comics were always political. So this is Miss Tree goes after somebody who tries to blow up an abortion clinic. And it's more complicated than that. who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, you know, what's going on, a discussion about abortion, you know, and it's surprising, you know, what year is this? This is 1984, I think. So Mystery is by Max Collins and Terry Beatty. It originally came out under, I forget the press, but it went to Aardvark Vanaheim, and then, which is you know, Cerberus, and then it's Renegade, and then I forget where it went. But it lasted 50 issues. Really like it. Really like it. It's straight up detective. So a little bit about Miss Tree is her name is Michael Tree, girl named Michael, and unofficially, like he says it in interviews, but he never says it in the comic, that she is the daughter of Joe Friday from the TV show Dragnet. So she's supposed to be the daughter of Joe Friday from Dragnet. So it's in the Dragnet continuity, meaning there's no supernatural, no space aliens, nothing. It's flat out detective story. And he named his daughter Michael. She became a private investigator. She meets, so her name is Michael Friday. That's in the book. Her name is Michael Friday. She meets Michael Tree, a man named Michael Tree. They hit it off. They get married. And during the honeymoon, he gets killed by the mob. So that's how short their marriage is. And now she's Miss Tree. And he, you know, they have a detective agency, and there you go. So in this one, I don't want to spoil it. It's a really, really good story. So here is, she's finally getting arrested. She shot and killed somebody in self-defense. You know what I mean? But it was like by 24 issues, it's like the third person she killed. And then in one issue, she was just mowing people down with a machine gun. She got set up, and basically all these mobsters just came rushing a warehouse, and she shot one guy, took his machine gun, and was just pop, 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 like 24, 25 bodies. So this is the real world. She's going to jail. So why is she going to jail? Because she was told to surrender your guns, surrender your private investigator's license, and just be good until the trial. Well, she got involved in this instance. You know, she tried to stop it. So now they're like, you violated your court ordered parole. Now you're going to jail. So now she's in jail, and intrigue happens because she's Miss Tree. You know, I just really like this comic. Okay, this is Heroes Incorporated. This is Wally Wood, Steve Ditko. Really interesting comic. I can't find issue number 1. I'm so mad. I'm hoping I find it now when I sort through all the comics. But here, so there was only 2 issues. There was issue 1, and then like 10 years later, there was issue 2. Issue 1 is a regular comic book size. Wally Wood, I mean, he draws the female form so well. And this character is just awesome. There you go. This is Peter David Dale Keown's Hulk: The End. I never read this. I never got any of the outside continuity stories. I'm like, if it's not in continuity, who cares, kind of thing. Like, what if I enjoyed for a point, but so I never got this. And then Vaughn Coleman, who does Phenomenova, go check it out. It's on Fun My Comic. It's on Kickstarter. It's a good, fun comic. He invited me on his channel to talk about this. And I was like, I didn't read it. So I guess I was a jerk. I shouldn't have showed up. But so I bought it and read it. It's a good story. Good story. The inker really, in my opinion, the inker lessens Dale Keown's art. Dale Keown may be a crazy person, but he's a great artist. X-Men 107. So this was the last issue I did of X-Men for Sunday Comics. I'm going to do Horace H. Hoover next week, and then the week after, I'm going to go back to X-Men. And I just realized I never finished the Star Wars run that I was doing because I couldn't find the comics, but I found them. So I'll go back to Star Wars too. So this is all new, all different. X-Men. This is a big deal, this comic. I forget how important this is, but this introduces the Shi'ar Empire, the Starjammers, and like all of the Imperial Guard. Like there's like 27 new characters introduced in this issue. So cool. Such a good comic. Coffee. Okay. Just be careful when there's pieces of paper. Don't need to dox myself. Okay, this is the Mighty Mascots. What is this? Oh, okay. Mighty Mascots number 2. Keith Gleason was on my channel. That comic was like, that talk was like talking with, like, we just became best friends by the end of that. I really enjoyed talking with him, and I backed his Kickstarter or crowdfund. I'm just gonna say crowdfund because I forget what platform it's on. And this is fun. This is fun. It's all breakfast mascots, but they have to be legally distinct, And it's a fun. It's an all ages. It's more. I'll say children. It's a children's book, children's rather than all ages. There's a difference. Shadow of Doom, but it's a fun book. And this is the map to Band of Crows. Band of Crows. I always say fake maps, but this is a real map to a fake place. So it's a real map to a fake place. Grab some more comics without knocking over the stand. Okay, back to Miss Tree. Oh, we got some comments. We got Arkham Hobbies and Hangout. Burb. We got Crenshaw. How you doing, Crenshaw? How you doing? How's everything? That's good to see you, Crenshaw. Great guy. Love talking to Crenshaw. So we got Mystery. Mystery, you can't kill me. To me, this is the first issue of Mystery that I was just like, nah, don't buy it. This is too far-fetched. Excuse me. Jeez. In a comic that is known for its super realistic realism, this issue stretched it for me, and I'm not going to spoil it. Gang War. This is just all the mobs. There's the leader of the mob dies. He has cancer, and they're all just waiting and waiting. And she's like, I gotta get. This is before. So this is the issue where she just takes the machine gun and mows down a bunch of people. Die. Bah, bah, bah. Believe it or not, she's supposed to be good looking. She's good looking and cold as ice. I think. Oh, Wolf of Batsy 13. Look at this. I love this comic. 64 pages. If you guys don't know Wolf and Batsy, check it out. You can go to brianbaugh.net, BRYANBAUGH.net, brianbaugh.net, and pick up Wolf and Batsy. Such a good comic. Such a good comic. Okay, this is the beginning of the Right to Life story, the Right to Die, they call it, but this is the beginning of the abortion story. Abortion is murder, right to. Okay, I'm back. I don't know. Did I freeze? Did I robot? Let me know. Let me know what's going on. But like I said, this is about abortion. There's obviously two sides, but there's obviously it's complicated political story. You want to do politics, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. And what do we got here? Oh, Mighty Mascots number 1. Mighty Mascots number 1. We know your first and last name in Long Island. What's left to docs? True. Oh, there was only a slight pause. Well, you guys want to see something really scary? There you go. How's that? Is that scary? Yep. How you doing, Arkham? How's everything?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Okay. So I'm reaching over for more comics. What do we got here? Oh, Tome of Reckoning. I always say Tomb. Tome of Reckoning number 3 by Dionysus. It's good. It's good. And this issue, it just amps up what's going on. It's a supernatural thriller, werewolves, vampires. If you're into that stuff, and I love these striking covers. This just all white with just a character on it. It seems to be the theme. Did you get any of these?
I didn't get any of those. I haven't done any backing this year, only because of life being in flux a little too much. My money needs to go up to other places.
It was a rough year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Zach Dead says we need more of a warning. I warned you. Something scary was about to pop up. There you go.
I mean, next time I could just I don't want to scare anybody away. Just scared me a little bit.
Chuck Dixon sent me this when he sent me the Horseman. I didn't read the Horseman yet, so he gave me a postcard of himself.
That's pretty awesome. I like it.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I guess that's what he has at like conventions and everything. Oh, and this. Okay. This is the Seven Deadly Sinners. And as you can see, it's autographed. This isn't out yet. And this is 7 criminals. It's like Fast and Furious. Because I what's the name of the artist? I forget the name of the artist, but he wanted to work with this artist for a long time, and this artist has overcommitted himself. So Chuck said this story has been written for like 8 or 9 years, and it's been at the artist's house. And when they said, let's work together, he said, what do you want to draw? He goes, I want to draw cars. So Chuck, being Chuck, he came up with a story about cars. So it's the 7 Deadly Sinners. So it's like a Fast and Furious, and there's a gang of 7 of them, and each one of them is based on one of the 7 deadly sins. And it's a car, Fast and Furious car chase comic. And he says it's been, God, why can't I think it's Sergio Corello, I think is the artist, but he's committed with other stuff. So he's been drawing this on the side. So he's been working on it for like 4 or 5 years, and it's just about to come out. This I'm excited for. I wouldn't be surprised if something like this gets turned into a movie. So little inside information. Chuck Dixon is the sequel to A Working Man is already underway. And Chuck wrote a comic, and because he had connections, with A Working Man, the way Hollywood is, you got a movie out, boom, 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 all the vultures come out. What else you got? What else you got? What else you got? So he has his own project, his own IP, that the comic isn't even out yet, and they're making a movie about it. But here's the funny thing. The comic is coming out first. The sequel to the comic is a movie.
Nice. I like that.
How cool is that? So
anime does it all the time. Look at Demon Slayer. All the movies that are out right now, it's just the final chapter of the series.
So that, I think that, for somebody who said Chuck was a has-been.
That guy, oh my God. My favorite was Chuck's a has-been, and Peter is a tourist. Yeah, I'm like, you know nothing about anything you're talking. Oh, wait, never mind. I just saw your bio. Clearly you do not.
The 7 heavenly virtues don't get as much represented as this. Yeah. Or do they? Does somebody have 7 children? I don't know. Read that statement as what you. Okay, so here's Psychodrama Illustrated #9 by Gilbert Hernandez, one of the 2 brothers who does Love and Rockets.
That's what it reminded me of.
So Gilbert does the why can't I think? I always forget the name of the town. But usually Jamie does Hoppers and Gilbert does I can't think of the name of the town, but that's how the stories are told. But
by the looks of the cover, Twin Peaks.
But I tell you, I don't even want to open this up. I think I hit my saturation point. I think I might be dropping Love and Rockets for the first time ever. It's just porn.
Oh, they've gone that route.
It's poorly drawn porn. I don't know what happened, but there was one illustration, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is garbage. It's not even okay. It's just porn. It's poorly drawn, and it's fetish porn.
That makes it even worse.
Yeah, it's like, have I changed? Has Gilbert changed? I don't know, but you know what? And to tell you that, you want to hear something? I could tolerate Savage Dragon more than I could tolerate this these days.
That's pretty bad. Savage Dragon is bad.
Yeah. So sorry, Gilbert. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And I think it's one of these things that people like, everybody's afraid to call them out on it. Degeneracy rots the brain. Yep.
I've literally stopped a lot of books because they just weren't performing. Even if I liked the people, like I generally liked Ultimate Spider-Man when it came out, but it got very monotonous very quickly. And Ultimates are just the Ultimates of the new one, because I was a fan of Miller's Ultimate run so much. I picked up this Ultimate run. Ultimates was absolute garbage from the beginning. It was some of the worst writing I've ever read. Not the Miller, but the new one. And Ultimate Spider-Man was very good. But like with Gilbert, it just became almost like a parody of itself very quickly. And I was just like, okay, this is just droning on a little. Come on, let's tell a story, please.
Zach Ted's story, degeneracy rots the brain. I gotta say, when you're making your own comics, the temptation to push the envelope is real strong. You know, like, okay, nobody's gonna get mad if I make my character naked and stuff like that. But like, I remember when I was playing Villains and Vigilantes in Albuquerque, and I was running a game, and my current girlfriend was playing with us, and she was always like, "I like this character. What's her story?" And I told her Future, and she goes, "No." She goes, "That's too. That's it was." She was just like, "That's just like too far into degeneracy." I was like, okay, that was like the first time I started to think about it. Okay, maybe whatever.
It is a balancing act. It truly is. I mean,
and I think a lot of people, lean into it. But you know what is awesome? This is Band of the Crow.
I need to get that so bad.
This is by far, I'm saying, and you know how much this crowdfunding comics, and I'm including myself in here, that are good. And then Band of the Crow. The fact that this isn't in comic book stores being celebrated is a crime. This is by far the best crowdfunded comic I've ever read. By far. And here's a variant cover of this.
You know what? I'm totally glad. I'm not totally glad. I would love for this individual to make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
From what I understand, last I looked at I don't remember if it was crowdfunding or Kickstarting for this. They probably made more through the Kickstarter than they probably would in the comic stores, in all honesty. And they have 100% control of their business now.
But look, I bought all the covers. I really, really like this. It's so good. So
I did the same thing with Conan, dude. I went ham on the covers. So
yeah, I gotta get those. I gotta get that skin taker. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I'll pull it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, skin taker. I gotta get that. That looks awesome. But look at this. This is just good so far. Wholesome fantasy. I mean, who knows what issue 2? But this is so good. This is so good. I really like the story. I like where it's going. By far, this is the best. But look at this. I got all the variations, the fake map, all of that's good. All of that stuff.
Skin Breaker.
Skin Breaker. What did I say? Skin Taker?
Yeah. You're pretty close.
Okay, we're back to Miss Tree. As you can see, I've been reading a lot of Miss Tree. Okay, we got some comments over here. Drawing pretty gals is good motivation, but the temptation can take up. Yeah, and you know what? I'm not a prude, but like commissions and stuff like that, and be forewarned. Eddie is Doomed is not safe for work. There is uncomfortable nudity in that story, but it's not supposed to be for kids. It's a one shot. That comic is supposed to be. Let's pretend it's the 80s, and it's on the shelf next to Daniel Clow's Love and Rockets. You know what I mean? I'm coloring it, but it should be black and white because that's the aesthetic that we're going for. But I'm coloring it because Oscar's such a great colorist, and he's half the art. You know what I mean? But it's not. But be forewarned, it's not lusty nudity. It's supposed to be like, oh, Eddie is doomed, ladies and gentlemen. It's not Eddie's having a great old time.
Well, John, look at the way I drew Fable in that card.
Right, that is tasteful.
Leg, a little bit of underleg on the other side, and that's it. You don't see too much.
Yeah, I love that picture. You know who that picture made me crystallize if they would have, if Fable was to become a movie, is Kelly Riley from the blonde from what is it, Yellowstone, I think.
Oh yeah,
that's who play her. She to me is like an elegant beauty,
John, these are the Conan #1s. That's the first preview issue where they didn't show a cover, so I pre-ordered that.
That's the one I have.
This is the one you have. This one, the art is so Kerbert-esque. I had to pick it up, or John Buscema style. It's very old 70s style. That is John Ramada, I believe. It looks like John Ramada. Is it?
That's
Nope.
Dan Pedozzi and aping
Okay.
what's his name? Why can't I think? John Buscema. But this is obviously that they're trying to do the John Buscema look.
And then we know who this is. You know, the one and only Mignola.
Yeah. Okay.
Another Mignola.
I take it you like Conan.
Yeah. When Conan #1 came out, I was so thoroughly impressed by the art. Right. That they in the issue 1, there was TNA and blood. I'm like, these guys are going old school Conan. I will throw in an extra. I'll throw $100 into this book, just to make sure they have enough. Same thing I did with Rippaverse, right? I threw a couple extra bucks, buy a couple books I didn't maybe need, just to make sure they have a foothold to be able to keep producing things of this quality.
Right? As to what you say, there's little TNA. TNA is perfectly legit in a Conan book.
Absolutely.
I got no problems with TNA. Just like this politics and Miss Tree, and there was a couple of issues. There was never any full nudity in this, but there was a couple of issues where they're adults about to do the lovey-dovey, but they turn off the lights at the last minute. You know what I mean? Like having an explicit sex scene was unnecessary. You know, but Conan is swords, bloods, and boobs. You know what I mean? Like to me, to not have a little bit of a tasteful nudity in Conan is you're missing the point of Conan. But Superman doesn't need any of that. You know, Superman, you just need wholesome. He's kissing Lois. You know, that's cool.
Like this can have tasteful nudity.
Yeah.
I mean?
Yes.
There's a place for it. There really is a place for it. And
right. Absolutely. I agree with you. Like I have a horror vampire story that's not probably, it's going to have horrible, they're vampires. It's going to be horrible murder and death and nudity in it. But I will let people know before it comes out. Heroic Tales, there'll be sexiness, but no nudity, you know.
This guy that I met here up in Oregon, this is his book. I met him at a local convention, right? He's a lot like Common America, right? Which I think, you know, very similar. It has that very, like right there, penny shot, right? But it's not gratuitous.
I'm laughing because in my role-playing game, this Swiss Army Man is one of the NPCs.
Oh, really?
And he's a hero who has like the solution for everything. You know, he can morph into all the tools and everything. So I'm just laughing that another one of my characters I can't use because they're Swiss Army woman.
Well, I mean, I would, you know what I would really like, John, is a lot of these independent people, yourself, Eric, individuals, Common Writer, all these guys. I would love, and I know from what I understand, some people are in talks of it right now, just doing a completely independent Comic-Con, just of independent creators. And there's some Zachary Levi, who else was it? Benny Johnson, and a couple other people are really wanting to do this. And of course, the Geeks and Gamers and Eric are already in that niche.
Well, so I guarantee you within 2 years, I'm basing this just on what I'm seeing, that there will be some sort of independent, you know, look at Phil Diaz, you know, Zaid Comics. These guys are Phil Diaz. He does the Lost Pages. He's got he works for a guy that owns like the biggest arcade in the world, you know, and when he bought the building, there was a printing press in the building, and they've been tinkering with it. Now they hired a guy, and they're getting it, and he's printing his own comic. He's testing it on his own comic.
That is
now,
beautiful.
This guy, when he was working with Cash Grab, he drove the comic around to get it autographed. You know, this is a guy with gumption. How's that for an old-fashioned farty word? Gumption. This kid's got moxie there, Arkham. He's got moxie, and I like the cut of his jib. I'm going to start talking like a 30 gangster.
There you go.
But this guy is talking about firing up the print. Pete Samedi, I don't know how he's doing it. This guy's printing freaking comic books in his living. His wife must think he's crazy.
Hey,
can you imagine that? Like I got boxes of board games over here. Can you imagine if I had a printing press over here? My wife would be like, "What is wrong with you?" You know. But these are guys. who are determined. They got fire. You know, they got ambition. They got long-term plans. And I joke about this, but I'm also, there's a kernel of seriousness. When Eric July was on my channel, I said, you got the money, you got the success. Why aren't you the distributor for all these indie comics? And he goes, that's a good idea. But you know how Eric kind of talks in circles. He doesn't give you a yes or no. You know, he talks like he's the Sphinx.
I kind of like that, because that way I would say most people's enemies, they're kind of everybody's enemies at this point in time. It's nothing that they can bite on, nothing that they can try to interject or ruin before it even gets started.
And then 6 months after that talk, he announces Rippercent. So I'm taking, until Eric July says, John, you didn't create Rippercent, I'm taking credit for it. But who knows? Now Rippercent is doing other people's merch. You know, in 2 years from now, it could be.
He's going to be doing books. I guarantee
it could be the place I send my files to.
Mm-hmm.
It's printed, they ship and do it. You know what I mean? Like, and then there's Critical Blast. This guy is getting. You know, I have a comic the Origin of Santa Claus comic that I'm working on right now. I dream about this comic. Literally, I was dreaming about it last night. I had scenes in my mind that I'm like, oh yeah, I got to rewrite the script again because I got to insert this one page. It's going to be so good. But I would like that to be a hardcover. So Critical Blast, RJ from Critical Blast. So, you know, I would like it to be successful enough that I could do stuff like that, you know. But why not? Why not?
I think between RJ, Vaughn, Eric, yourself, and there's so many others, Ronnie, there's a lot of independent creators out there that you can tell, one, love making money. We all do. Who doesn't? But two, has an absolute love and drive to produce. It's a big difference between going for the money and doing it to make good stories. And you can tell these people are doing it to make good stories, not just to make cash. You know,
I don't know what other people's finances are. I'm not one of those people that clockwatches other people's finances, but I'm breaking even. You know, it's paying for itself, which to me is a success. My job pays my bills. But when you were talking about working with other people, so I kept tight-lipped about it, and then when I was told I could announce it, I never announced it because I was with Bill Willingham. But Bill Williams has a comic called Punchline, and he's doing Punchline Annual. So Punchline Annual #1 is, I don't know if it's going to be 64 pages or 100 pages, but it's an oversized comic, and he's doing 12 pages. I'm doing 12 pages. And Bill Willingham, I don't know how many pages Bill Willingham is doing, and I don't know if Bill Willingham is writing it and drawing it, but it's a crossover. So my character, I think Aaron Sparrow might be in it. So it's a crossover with all, and I'm one of these people that's very reluctant to do a crossover, but I also didn't want to miss this opportunity because this is Antarctic Press. It's going to be in comic book stores. So the way Antarctic Press works is you do a crowdfund, you make the comic, and then after the crowdfund, you do it through them. They put it through, I forget whatever distribute, and it goes into comic books. So it's literally both. So my comic, you know, will be in, you know, comic stores provided they order it. So I'll have 12 pages. Renzo is done with that. It's colored. It's but I was really stressing, how do I fit his character? Because I'm a continuity freak, and I literally have maps of the universe and beyond the universe and stuff like that. Like, his character doesn't fit, but I came up with a workaround to make his character fit. So there you go. So it'll be, it's set in the future. So, like, you know, it's probably chronologically set after issue 10 of Heroic Tales, but so I'll put a date on it when I reprint it into my own stuff. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, technically also with that, since it is your creation, you could say this is a non-canon Elseworld story.
I don't believe in that. It has to happen. It has to happen. You know what I mean? So I wrote it in a way that it works. It'll work in my world, and it'll work in Bill Williams' world. And because of reasons that I don't want to get into,
of course,
it'll never happen again, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it, you know, so I'm being shady because I don't want to spoil the story. But the point being is, like, I couldn't, you know, Wolf and Batsy, you know, they don't fit in my world. I don't fit in their world. Like, I as much as I like my friends, and yet they do cross over. You know, I'm being KG again. You'll see in Heroic Tales too. But anyway, let's get back to Mystery 26. So this is
You're back.
Go figure. She kills somebody while she's in jail. Go figure, because that's what she does. You know, and then they find out that the whole jail system is corrupt and everything like that, and they get her. She goes to trial, and she basically takes an insanity plea. So now she's out of jail, and she's put in the custody of the the psycho ward. This is Chile 25. I think this is the second to last issue, or the last issue, I forget. But man, the first 12 issues of this were a lot of fun. A lot of fun. The art by Stan Goldberg was a lot of fun. And then I don't know if he rushed it or if his style changed. And then the last 3 issues were just reprints of earlier issues. So the writing was on the wall. It was done. But I like this. This is Chili Storm. That's Millie the model. You know, literally, this was Marvel's Girls Comics line. And then they brought Chili Storm back and said that she is Johnny Storm's cousin. You better believe if I ever wrote the Fantastic Four, I would bring Chili Storm back into the regular continuity. This is Christine, Heroes Fall, issue 2. This is one of those comic books that, for no reason at all, there's nudity. She's an insane girl, and she's in an insane asylum. She may or may not have superpowers. She may or may just have multiple personality disorder. And there's a nude version. You could just get this cover, and she's totally naked. You know why?
A lot of companies do that, where it's just nudity.
It's not a bad story, but you know, it's just like, hey, we're gonna make nude comics because we can make nude comics.
That's easy money.
Yeah. This is Hulk 146. I gotta say, man, I'm amazed that Hulk is popular considering how bad these comics are. These comics are just it's almost as if AI wrote these comics. It's just
the 60s Hulk, 60s, 70s Hulks are bad.
Yeah,
really bad.
These are just bad. Every third issue, it's the leader. Every issue, it's Thunderbolt Ross going after him. It's just like, crank these out. You know, I'm waiting for it to get good. You know, what does it say? Pity, Millie, and Chili look classic comics. Yeah, Stan Goldberg was one of the artists on Archie, so he was doing Archie comics and Marvel, and for a while he used it's not a pseudonym when you're an artist, but he used a false name because he was under exclusive for Archie, and they didn't want him doing Marvel. And then when the exclusivity wore off, he went back to using his own name. But these aren't too good. These aren't too good. We'll put these over here. So this is the Thunder Agents #1. She looks like her crazy is higher than her, but that's just it. In that Christine book, the writing isn't too bad, but you really don't know if she's got superpowers and they're keeping her there, or she's crazy. It's only 2 issues, you know. I think it's going to be like 3 or 4 issues. But anyway, so this is the Thunder Agents #1. Look at glorious art, great costume designs, great powers. This is the oddest comic of the time in that it's the art is some of the best art you're going to see in comic books in 1964. The story is so bizarre because it's written like Justice League at the time, like pandering to kids, but then people die and people get machine gunned. You know what I mean? It's the weirdest, bizarre comic, and I do recommend it. Now, I always tell the story. I went into a comic book store in Flushing, Queens. I'm trying to remember the name of the comic book store, but they were literally getting rid of all the comics, selling all the comics, $1 each. Every comic book, every back issue, $1 each, because they wanted to get rid of them so they could just put up tables to play Pokemon. That's the last gasp of a comic book store. You know what I mean? Once it turns into a Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, store, you know it ain't gonna last too much longer. And so I was like crawling around. I got like a long box full of comics, and
I would have for sure.
nearly every Thunder Agents. I think I was missing 4 or 5, $1 a piece. This included, and these are in remarkably good shape. So I don't even think they understood what they were getting rid of, but they're probably just happy to get rid of it. So what do we got here? Hulk 148. This is Jarella, the green girl that's from the microscopic world. This is so bad. She finds a sorcerer to make her big so she could find the Hulk, because there's like a revolution in her microscopic world.
Mm-hmm.
But because the spell used, it's causing the sun to go supernova. So, because of reasons,
right.
So Shield makes the life model decoy, and they're going to send the decoy through the sun to stop it from going supernova. But the life model decoy gets killed by the assassin, so he thinks he killed her. He goes back home, and then she's like, "I gotta go." The life model decoy, like, just make another one. Like, Shield pumps things out, so she's got to go back because Hulk can never be happy. It's just, it's like a comic book written by a guy who's just like, he does cigarette ads for a living. You got to write a comic book. What? Okay, freaking sun's going supernova. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It stretches, because we all know comic book logic is insane, but this stretches it to like not even Super Friends quality. It's like I keep saying, how the hell the Hulk survived so long? These are the most uninspired comics from Marvel that I've ever read.
You know what I would love to see, because it has bounced around from studio to studio quite a bit, is the Micronauts rights go to somebody like Kirkman, someone that can handle it, right? Because the Micronauts, I think IDW had them for a while. Somebody did, anyways, and there was no volume. Nothing was said about these. I'm like, how can nobody be talking about a Micronauts series? Is it that just?
I remember people making fun of. I think Warren Ellis was like, all the stuff's going on in comic. Oh wow, Micronauts are back! Like, yeah, dude, Micronauts. Like, that's not a good sign when a writer is making fun of somebody getting excited about something in comic books. Capitalize on that. I got those comics. It was Image and then IDW. It bounced back and forth like a pinball. And the problem is, Micronauts is a weird problem because what is it, Hasbro or Mattel? I forget the company that owns the toys. But
if it's Mattel, the good thing is I would partner that with whoever gets those rights with ROM immediately, because Mattel owns the rights to ROM.
Right.
So I mean, I'd make it do for it.
But the Micronauts, the problem with Micronauts is Marionette, Bug, and Arcturus Ran are owned by Marvel.
Right.
But Space Glider, Acroyer, so Arcturus Ran is a space glider, but the name Arcturus, so it's half Marvel, so they couldn't use any of the Marvel stuff. So they had a space glider character, but they made it a girl boss.
Yeah. Wasn't that she's supposed to be like the replacement of oh no, never mind. That was somebody else. So I remember they replaced Rom with a female Space Knight, and it was just like nobody cared.
And then here we got Fantastic Four. I'm so mad because I read up to issue 14, then I ordered 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, but I didn't realize it when I got it. They only put in 17 and 18. The other ones were out of stock, because I'll put it in my, cart, and it'll sit there for like 2 months. And then when I hit like a certain level of money to justify the postage, I'll hit go, because I'm not going to pay $20 shipping for one comic. You know what I mean? So I try to wait till about $150 worth of comics, boom. And then they could, so by that time, the other issue, so I just read these thinking, so I hate when I read comics out of order. These are terrible. This is officially when Dan Slott turned the Fantastic Four social justice warrior. So these, Reed Richards is constantly being reprimanded by Sue. It's just, I don't know. They changed the origin, although I do like this cover. Too much purple, though. What do they know? They're not professional.
Damn purple.
And then this is the Charlton Bullseye. This is a weird comic. It's a fanzine for Charlton stuff, but then it was made by Bob Layton, who later went on to do, some great work for Marvel and DC. And so I don't know if this is officially a Charlton comic or if it's a fanzine or whatever, but there's 5 issues of it. I'm up to issue 3. They're really hard to find, but next issue is all John Byrne. So issue 1 and 2 was a lot of Steve Ditko. This is a kung fu issue about believe it or not, it's about a Korean man who's coming to United States through San Francisco so he's a young Korean with an elder Korean imploring. He's like an ambassador. He wants Washington D.C. to help because the Chinese are intruding in Korea. And then he gets ambushed by robbers who they don't know who he is. They just rob the stagecoach, and they're doing kung fu, but the guys take out guns and they shoot. So he's taken back by like a ranching family, a man and a woman, like a father and his sexy daughter who forgets to button her shirt a lot. It's really weird, but she's got the
farmer's daughter.
Yeah, farmer's daughter. But it's interesting that it's Korean, and the funny thing is the ranchers are just like, what's Korea? Like they know China, they know Japan, but they never heard of Korea. And he does Korean martial arts, Taekwondo. I didn't know Taekwondo. I'll take their word for it, but apparently Taekwondo is a Korean martial art. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a national sport.
So it's kind of interesting, and and it's all. I don't know if issue 4 is going to continue the story, but I'm invested. I want to know. So here is a 1-issue micro series, Raphael Teenage Mutant. This is the first appearance of Casey Jones, and I'm so mad because the issue that I bought was the second printing. I thought I bought the first. So I already read this, so it's just You
didn't pay first printing prices for it, did you?
This less than $100.
Oh, then no. First printing's pretty damn expensive.
This is the first printing.
Oh, you did? Okay, then yeah, that one is worth quite a bit right now.
Yeah, this is the first printing. And what is it? In 4.5 out of 5. This company only goes to 5. Really good condition. Ironically, I paid more for the second printing than the first printing, so I might sell the second print. And this is the official last issue of Chili. So I'm finally done with Chili. These were kind of hard to get. I would buy like 5 at a time, and then I'd just get 1 at a time because, I don't know if people just hold on to these weird Marvels or if they're just not popular enough that they show up all the time. But there you go. That's all that I read. This is all that I was going to talk about, and now I'm going to go in the back room and sort comics. Unless anybody wants to come in and talk more. Arkham, you got anything you want to say?
Let's see here.
We'll do this. So those of you who don't know who Arkham is working on one of my comics. I'm still keeping the title under wrap until the cards are ready. But it's a story of a husband and wife, adventurers. They find out where they basically find out where the cave is. If you know the story of Perseus goes into a cave to the Grey Sisters, the 3 sisters that share one eye and one tooth among them. They find like their final resting place. And not only that, they also find the golden fleece. They find the sandals of Hermes, and they put them all on, and it converts them into these heroes. And, he gets all of these I'm doing the gender roles to a T. He's super masculine. He's the fighter warrior, and she's the support. She's the female. She's got if you want me to get a little nerdy, Arkham, you probably don't even know this, but the magic system in my world is based a lot on D&D. There's 7 schools of magic: evocation, divination, necromancy, alteration. Why can't I think of the rest? But the same as the schools in
illusion, necromancy,
illusion. I folded illusion into enchantment. Enchantment
that makes sense, yeah.
And
because you do put an enchantment when you cause an illusion.
So there's 7 schools of magic, because I wanted it to tie into the 7 keys of Solomon. 3 of the schools are male, 3 of the schools are female, and the necromancy is gender neutral because everybody dies. So female magic is conjuration, for obvious reasons. Women give birth. Female magic is conjuration, enchantment, and divination, and male magic is evocation, alteration, And why can't I think of the other one? It's gonna drive me nuts until I remember. But whatever. But those are the male school. So so she's gonna have mostly enchantment and divination and conjuration kind of magic, and he's gonna have evocation, which is direct damage, confrontation, alteration. He's gonna impose his will on the world. And why can't I think of the last? That's gonna drive me nuts. Alteration, evocation,
Divination.
divination is female. Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna drive me nuts that there's a school of magic that I can't remember. But anyway, that's the way magic works in my world. Husband and wife, so traditional. Yeah, and it starts out, kind of sexy. They find the cave. They're so happy. They start celebrating. How do they celebrate? Well, what do husbands and wives do when they're alone in a cave? They throw down the blankets. So literally the first third of the book is them running around naked, but we don't really show anything.
Yeah, up until half the book, they're pretty much naked.
Yeah, and then they find out the final fate of the Greek gods, and that there's a looming threat throughout the world. That this story is going to introduce the looming threat that's happening in Heroic Tales. So as I say to everybody, take your time, have fun, but man, hurry up. I'm just excited to see your stuff. So anything you want to say?
Nothing much. Sorry, that was a little loud.
Abjuration. Abjuration is the missing. Thank you. Abjuration is protection magic. Men supposed to protect. Yeah, abjuration is protection magic. Sorry, I said you want to talk, and then I interrupted you. My wife upstairs she gets so mad when I do that. She goes, "John, you tell them to talk, and then you interrupt."
No, you're good. No, I'm taking a week off, and I'll be back next weekend, and then I'll be kicking things into hard overdrive. There'll be a lot of good stuff coming out, some fun stuff.
Cool. What book we talk? We talk about. We were talking about all the comics.
What book it's called? We're not giving away the name.
And now we're talking about a comic that I wrote that Arkham over here is drawing. And his art style is so much more different than anything. You want to hold up one of your pictures just to show?
Sure.
Because he showed a picture of Arkham's talking to me, and he goes, "I can't draw," blah blah blah, and then he shows this beautiful waterfall scenes that my wife wants a print of.
And I'll definitely send that out to her. There's one of
you're having a hard time right now. I understand you're going through, but look at this. So he showed me artwork, and I was like, "Oh my god, this story would be perfect for you."
And then I got the one actually your wife liked right behind me.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, when you get a chance, she loves that. She wants. Yeah, he showed that, and I was like, okay, how well could you draw a human? You're in.
That's my weakest thing is people and clothes. But once I get that down, I'm just off with the races because I love backgrounds. I love doing backgrounds. Like
little backstory. Another guy who's making their own comics approached me about teaming up to do a comic.
So these are all like how I do things ahead of time. Just sketch things out and so forth.
So I wrote the script for him, and he was just like, I'm literally working on a Greek hero monster story with somebody else. You got anything else? He goes, it's not that I dislike the story. It's just I feel like I'm going to be working on this story and then working on this story, and it's the same thing. I want to work on something different.
Right.
So then I saw your artwork, and it was a blessing in disguise. And I'm not mentioning him because he's superstitious. He says, I don't want anybody to know what we're doing, who we're working with until it's done. So literally when that campaign comes out,
you'll know.
No, we're going to do a campaign and go right to print.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, in all honesty.
Well, it is a risk because, what if I pay him to do all of this artwork and I get 4 sales? So I understand
that is true.
Why people crowdfund. But the thing is, I don't care. I want to work. But anyway, I was just like, well, what do you want to draw? What do you want to draw? And then I looked at everything that he does. And I'm not even joking. I was sitting in this chair. We were communicating back and forth through text message. And I just looked up and I saw the logo in the air. And I'm not telling you what it is because he asked me not to. And I got to respect it. And I was like, perfect. And then I said, well, but what's the story? So I pitched him the name of the character, the name, and he's like, yeah, write that story. And within a week, I sent him script. He goes, perfect. And it's funny because it's a horror story and it's 13 pages. I did it on purpose. He's like, no, because I wanted it to be one half of Heroic Tales. He's like, no, I'm making this 28 pages. There's a lot in here, and it's going to be its own comic. So it will be, issue 1. This boom.
I said the same thing about the script you gave me.
Right. I mean,
this needs to be 32 pages. I'm sorry, it really should.
Later. What's that?
I said it always can be later, like a redub.
No. Do what you're doing fine. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of pages that you're turning into full page spreads. Fine. Yeah. Your art style lends to that. So we got like Chuck Dixon says, the script becomes the artist's script once you hit send. And who am I to argue with Chuck Dixon?
How your camera angles are, where the audience is going to perceive things and how your character's going to cross between them. There's a lot of visuals you have to do in your head before you even put anything on paper.
And a few people said the same thing. Like your comics are dense. I mean, you'll see it. The Patriarch story was very light because when I wrote the original script, it was super dense with world building. And I realized I was told by a bunch of people, this is just too dense. You can't do this for an introduction. So I'm starting to think that maybe I made it too light, the Patriarch story. So issue number 2, the Patriarch story, it's got a little bit more world building, but it's still light. And then everything after that is just jam-packed with information. The Mary Sue story, which is the other half of Heroic Tales. Not to say that there is a lot in issue number 1 that's Easter egg that you'll see. Issue 2, it's basically setting up the story that you're working on. Awesome. Matter of fact, I'm going to send you the digital files. I have the digital file all ready to ship out, but I'm not sending it out to people until I start mailing. But since you're working on the comic, it might
help me
what you drawed. So yeah.
Like perfect example when you were talking about when you, as the writer, when you give it to the artist and they become the visual writer of it. There's a scene that you and I know where a gun is involved, right? So when I'm writing the scene in, I have to make the audience be aware that there is a gun in the first place. I don't want that gun to just pop out of nowhere, right? So when we're introducing characters, he has a gun on his hip. You can see a holster. You can see where they're, so that way when later on, when the gun gets involved, I have a scene where he's grabbing it. The next panel, he's up there and he's shooting, tack, 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 tack. So you can see every step. Nothing comes out of nowhere.
Right.
If something's going to be utilized within the story, you're going to see it before. So
right.
I'm not going to ever have anything pop out of the blue.
That's why. Well, first off, I put a lot of stuff into the script. Each panel I pretty much described. But another guy that I'm working with, he was just like, "Do you mind if I change everything around?" I was like, "As long as you keep the story, and the characters. If you have a better way of telling that's fine. But I do recommend." Read the whole script. If you're an artist, oh, look at the kitty cat. If you're an artist, read the whole script before you start drawing.
Yes.
That's what Renzo does.
Like I have to. There's a couple times when I'm drawing, I have to go and reread and be like, okay, no, I need to change this because that happens later on. So I want to make sure this is seen. You know what I mean?
Right. Look at my crazy hair. I need a haircut.
You want me to take you a real quick trip of the studio? Now that I got I'll show you, like, when I say like you and I have a lot in common, I mean, we do.
Is magic the main power? So the story that Arkham's working on, yes, it's based on Greek power, but it's ultimately all the same thing. Magic, superpowers, everything except technology. Look at all that.
All figures, dude. And this is just my studio. Can you imagine what my garage looks like?
What is that? Oh, I thought that was a helmet in the back there. That's a statue. I thought that was like a cool helmet from Gondor or something.
No, that's Neferhotep. Right there.
No, like direct, like 180 degrees behind you. There's like that.
Yeah.
What is
No,
that
it's like
wing?
old Mexican. I don't know what those are even called. They're like a friend of mine gave me those, and it's gorgeous. That thing right there, I love it. I don't know what it is, but it's gorgeous. And here's some of my statues that I painted. There's a deep one right there.
Cool. Look at all that.
Yeah. So I just realized I just killed my camera.
That's okay. All right. I just wanted to show off these comics so I could go and organize them, and I'll do my. Oh man, you know who I look like? I'm looking at myself. Did you ever see the Black Hole? The movie, the Black Hole, the Disney movie.
Oh, the
captain.
The captain, yeah,
the captain of the ship. Yeah,
that's right. When my beard grows out, I look like if I let my hair grow out and my beard grow out, I kind of look like Dildos from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But there you
go. Let me tell you something real quick.
I don't want to. If I keep talking, we got another. I was about to say, I'll keep talking as long as the chat gets involved. But So here we go. John, geeky topic, but I'm going to make a verse episode seeing who would win between the Patriarch and Solari from the Rippaverse. Okay. All I ask is wait until you read Heroic Tales #2. And I only read Alpha Core #1. Obviously, I don't think is Alpha Core 2 out yet.
No.
Yeah, so obviously I didn't read it then. But I'm being tight-lipped because it's a big point, but power levels could change in my story, but the more power you draw from the source of superpowers, the more it damages your brain. And one of the reasons why the Patriarch is he's the third longest running superhero in my world. The longest still active superhero is Captain Atlas. He's the Superman of my world. He is ridiculously powerful on purpose. The second longest is Colonel Marshall Strong. The reason why he is so grounded is he's relatively weak, but he's Captain America, like he's got the perfect body, so to talk about role-playing games, all of his stats are elevated, so he has heightened everything. So like in D&D, when you make up a character, you get 3 to 18. Marshall Strong has like a 25 in all of his stats, and that's basically all of his powers. So it's not like he fires lightning bolts and flies and stuff. So he's not really drawing a lot of power. He's got a moderate level of power, and that kept him from going insane. The third most longest running superhero is the Patriarch. Now the Patriarchs can fly. He could use telekinesis. You saw it in issue 2. Whenever a character's eyes start to glow, that's basically a warning sign that he's using too much power. Now
we haven't seen it in issue 2 yet.
What's that?
I said we haven't seen it in issue 2 yet.
You saw it in issue 1.
Yeah.
When he destroyed the meteorite, he was channeling way too much power.
Gotcha.
And when you do that, the power comes someplace, and it literally changes your brain. And a lot of them become addicted to that. And
right.
So most people who in my world who get superpowers become villains. They succumb. It's like the One Ring. They become too powerful. They become too powerful too fast, and they love pulling. It's almost like a drug, and they get ridiculous, and it literally changes the way they think. Like there's one character who I'm not going to put him in the comic books because he thinks he's Thor.
Right.
And he literally picked up a hammer from a supermarket, and because he channeled so much power, he literally transformed it so that it looks like I bought this because this is exactly what it looked. It literally transformed into Thor's hammer. His mind turned, and when he got defeated and arrested, a supervillain took the hammer and it's hooked up, and it generates his secret base. So there's a secret supervillain base powered by Thor's hammer, because the whole purpose of superpowers in my world is if you think it without any doubt, it happens. It's all based on if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So the beard came back nicely. Thank you. I've been trimming it. I'm thinking it looks better, a little trimmed than the Madman Rabbi look. I don't know. I've been losing weight, so I've been actually taking pride in my appearance for the first time in 30 years.
I kind of wish I never shaved when I lost weight. I wish I would have left my full beard.
I'm down 25 pounds since the
Nice.
car accident. You know, I just sitting in this chair, not moving, eating chips all day long, watching cartoons. You know, so it was easy to pump up the power. So anyway, back to your geeky question: who would win between the Patriarch and? Well, it's kind of fun because they're both Superman homages. So I don't want to pepper your decision, what you think, but that'll be fun. Let me know when you do it, where you do it. If you know, I'll comment. Is you know, I assume this is like going to be a fun, good faith thing. It'll be a lot of fun. I look forward to it. You know, maybe that would be fun to I'll ask Chuck Dixon after you do this. I'll ask Chuck Dixon to watch it. Maybe him and I will comment together. You know, he's my buddy. Sure, I'll wait to get the characters' information, and I can't wait for your next book. My next book, well, Heroic Tales 2, any second. I'm hoping, you know, because Comics Wellspring, they don't contact you during the weekend, but I'm hoping Monday that I get the confirmations that the proofs are in the mail. Once the proofs in the mail, I should get them by if they're mailed this weekend, I should get them by Wednesday. If everything's good, I hit the print button, and that's a week to 2 weeks, and then I just start. I'll be shipping every day. Since I'm working this shift, I could pack books and then go to the post office every day. I was just going to the post office on Saturdays last time because I was working. By the time I would come home from work, start packing, and the post office was already closed. And it wasn't until literally like the last week that I found out that the post office will come to your house and pick stuff up. But anyway, superheroes making powerful artifacts sounds like something a dark organization would try to exploit. Why do you guys keep guessing plots of my comics?
Yeah, guys, stop doing stuff like that.
But because in my role-playing game, again, everything ties back to villains, vigilantes. We also play Dungeons and Dragons. We do a fantasy story, and one of the ways, like if Arkham, I know you played. I just realized that I made coffee, 2 scoops Tim Hortons, 1 scoop Cafe Bustelo, and I just realized the Cafe Bustelo is working because I'm talking like a madman right now. So forgive me, ladies and gentlemen.
No, everybody's enjoying it. I mean, we have more people to talk with. You know,
in Dungeons and Dragons, there's a chance that your weapons, your magic items, could be intelligent, like Stormbringer was the intelligent sword. Your weapons, or the sword of Turin Taranbar was an evil black sword, just like Stormbringer. So I try to incorporate that, but using my rules, because my fantasy world uses the same world as my superhero world. So one of the ways a weapon could become an intelligent magical item is you're this great paladin and you're fighting on the bridge and you're holding off the forces and you're allowing everybody, and you're just holding off the orcs and you're vanquishing, and you fight 100 orcs, and like Boromir, you're getting killed, and then you finally die saving everybody and you collapse and your blood is all over the sword. That sword gets powered by your soul, and you know what I mean? This soul becomes like a holy weapon that the next person, if they're worthy to carry it, they're just like, oh, Arkham was the paladin who fought off the orc, and this, it becomes like its own the virtues and the legendary feats of the wielder made this sword a powerful holy artifact. So things like that can happen. So yes, there are the opposite of that, evil deeds. So there will be, people bust my chops, but the suit in that story, he's an evil person. He's a detestably evil person. Wait till you see the stuff that this guy does. I might not be as graphic about it as I was the first issue. I think I learned my lesson, but this guy is a detestable, disgusting person, and he is trying to make evil artifacts. And you can only imagine the stuff that he's doing, So if super good deeds could create a powerful holy sword or a cross that repels vampires, and you know what I mean? You could imagine like Ed Gein's cup that he made out of his own mother's skull. You tell me that doesn't have evil powers? You know what I mean? Things like that.
There's a movie about him coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the pro B. I love nerdy questions like this. Do you use verbal, somatic, and material components when cast? Yes. Yes. The magic system in my world, it's called the language of creation. There's 25 glyphs in the language of creation, and nobody on earth knows all 25 glyphs. If you know all 25 glyphs, you're the perfect spellcaster. But nobody knows all the glyphs. So to replace the lacunas, the blank spots in your magical formula, you use a material component. So you want to cast a fireball. Say you need 8 of these glyphs, but you only know 5 of those glyphs. So you need to replace those 2 glyphs with a material component, something that would call fire, some sort of sympathetic. So pitch, maybe a lit match, something, you know what I mean, to work in the, and of course it's not as powerful or as efficient if you knew all 7 glyphs to cast the fireball spell, whatever. And all the glyphs, they're frequencies, so they're almost like musical notes. So you got to move your hands. So there's 5 components to spell casting. There's thought, there's sound, there's material, and the hardest part is to concentrate. So you got to concentrate, you got to make these sounds, you got to move your hands, and you know to so it's a 5-pointed star. And I have a magical character that actually has an artifact that he carved that he uses as a focus to it has no powers other than it reminds him of what he needs to do to cast spells, and it's a good way to convey to the audience. But yes, so to answer your question, yes, you need to know these, you need to vocalize it, you need to move your hands, somatic, and a material component if you don't know all the glyphs. If you know all the glyphs for that particular spell, you don't need a material component. Now, you could also do without any of these, but you square the other. So for each one, so if your hands are tied up and you have to square the verbal, thinking, and material components, and you could still cast the spell. You know what I mean? So you're like, oh man, my hands are tied up. I got the matches over here, whatever. I got all the material components. So basically you have to speak louder, think harder, but you can still, but it's exhausting. So it's all a mathematical formula. And I could get nerdy in it. Does the sword or weapon gain sentences or mirror character or virtue? Depends. Like Excalibur, you know, like, does it have the virtues of King Arthur? Or I'm trying to think like magical weapons or whatever. Like if you were to find, I don't know, Arundel, the sword of Aragorn. Let's say he exists in your world. Would it have Aragorn's personality in it? You know, or like the arrow that killed Boromir. You find that arrow, and it's got like, we must kill orcs. You know what I mean? Does it possess you? It swerves to hit orcs. You know, I it depends. Whatever you make up, it's magic. So you could fudge the rules.
I like it.
On says evening. How you doing?
Evening.
Glyph magic sounds like an interesting system. Yep. Mathemagics. It's funny that you said that. What about Stormbringer? Stormbringer in the texts in the Michael Moorcock. Let's all giggle because I said Moorcock. The Michael Moorcock books. It was a demon that shape changed into a sword. Spoiler alert for book 6 called Stormbringer. When everybody's dead and the world is in chaos, the sword morphs back into its demon shape, laughs at everybody, and flies away.
Yeah. It just pisses off and goes, that was fun.
Mjolnir carries virtue as enchanted by Odin. Yep. And there was a story about a guy who's making a bell for like a Persian king, you know, set in the Persian Empire. And the 3 bells before cracked by 3 other bell makers. And he basically knew, and those bell makers were executed and their families were executed. So he got the silver and everything like that. And then he was freaking out. He's like, this, you know, I got to make it perfect. I got to make it perfect. So when they were smelting it, his daughter ran and jumped into the liquid silver as a sacrifice. And then the bell became perfect and sweet. And every time it rang, you know, it had this timber that you know, so unfortunately magic could require horrible sacrifices or good sacrifices, you know. I have a character that probably a bad guy who's more interesting than the supervillain that he's going to fight. He's actually going to be the star of the story. So I got to introduce the magic guy first, and then his main villain. His main villain is so freaking cool. So freaking cool. The funny thing is I have a magic character, and it's my friend Jimmy's role-playing character, and he's been playing this character for 12 years, and he still doesn't have a superhero name because he just, for 8 of those 12 years, this character was trying to learn magic. He finally cast his first, literally, he's been playing with this character, a magician, and he took him 8 years to cast his first spell. He was on a quest to learn. It's all occult knowledge. He had to, you know, if magic was easy, everybody would be, and he's in my superhero world. So he doesn't have a superhero name. So when I'm putting him in my comic books, I call him the Metaphysician. And I had a placeholder name, and I'm like, nah, that's a bad guy's name. So I came up with the name to call him because I can't put him in the comic book as Jimmy's character. That's not a good superhero name. I called him the Metaphysician instead of Doctor Strange. And the name that I used as a placeholder is now going to be his main villain. And oh man, the main villain story is so freaking cool. It's so freaking cool. I'm ranting it because I'm filled with Cafe Bustelo.
I know if I drink caffeine this late, I just won't sleep.
Yeah, well, I don't, you know, I stay up late now because I don't get home till midnight. So the weekends I'm like all screwed. I slept till noon today because that's, you know, that my schedule is all messed up. Slept till noon. My wife went to church, and then she went grocery shopping, and then we went to the diner for dinner. If I may share, do you ever get tired of food? You just like,
yes and no.
You know,
when I'm working out, working out, believe it or not, my appetite goes away. Right, my appetite gets very suppressed. When I get famished, I eat. And then I'm full very quickly, but then I'm hungry again an hour later. So what I do is I just cook like a piece of chicken breast, cut it in half, eat half of it, go do something, come back, eat the rest. So I don't sit down with a full meal anymore, except for dinner time. I peck throughout the day.
So I go through these phases where I'm just like, I don't want Mexican, I don't want Indian, you know, like I keep joking that I want to find like the Bladsfarians, like,
mm-hmm.
The Bladsfarians ethnic group. I've never had their food. Oh my, this is what I've been missing. Like I'm looking for some ethnic group food that doesn't exist because I'm so tired of everything. That's the first world American problem. I'm tired. So we went to the diner today, and every time I go to the diner, I either get a burger or eggs and bacon. Those are like the only two choices. So I'm like, so you know what I got? I got, they call it the gobble gobble. It was Thanksgiving dinner in a panini, and it was awesome. It was awesome. So it was turkeys, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberries, you know, and then gravy.
I do that Hawaiian rolls. I mean, that's a tradition around our. I mean, for years my family made fun of me for it, but everyone does it now. I would literally just crack it open, throw mashed potatoes in it, a slab of turkey, throw some gravy on it, just crunch it and start eating it. And everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's delicious. Don't question it."
It is.
And now it's a thing. And it's just like, I'm sorry, us Gen Xers started that crap. Nobody did that before we did it. My brother didn't do it. And he's technically, no, I think he's Gen X. He was 10 years older than me.
I love Thanksgiving dinners. Oh, we got another question here. I'm talking about all my stuff. JP Fawn asked, as an aside, as a Superman fan, which incarnation of Brainiac is your favorite? I like the green Brainiac with the cross on his head in the lab coat. The evil. What's that?
So I like two of them. I do like the Brainiac specifically from I think it's just called Batman Brainiac story. That's where Paul Kent has the heart attack. And that's the first time you ever seen Superman literally want to kill somebody, but won't. He will not cross that line. That story, that Brainiac, and then I do like the eight ladies early '90s robot Brainiac.
Yeah,
I like that Brainiac as somebody that's literally just taking his body apart and is just like, no, if I'm to continue this quest, I have to leave my body behind. I have to become something more. So that he digitized himself, so that way he can digitize everything and compact it and learn from it. You know,
right.
kind of like that. It's scarier, in my opinion.
I know. To me, there's nothing scarier than an evil doctor, and that's what that the lab coat Brainiac. He's got the rubber gloves. He's got the Alex Ross paints him with that mirror on his head. I just find that to be like a horror character. But yeah, I like the robot one. I like Brainiac. I mean, I'm differentiating it between Brainiac 5, from the Legion of Superheroes. But the problem is I'm such a continuity freak that I don't know the progression of Brainiac. Like, are they all dismissed? Did they progress from the robot to this one? What's going on? And now I heard rumors that DC is being bought out by somebody else, and it's probably going to reboot again. Oh, geez, it's just so difficult.
Well, that's the problem is when DC got sold to Warner Brothers and it being part of this corporation that, as we know, all corporations get shuffled constantly. It gets shuffled with it, and every time that happens, reboot. It's just
it makes me not care. We got another question. Omniprobe. What is the name of the planet you hear it? It's Earth. It just assume it's the same Earth we live on, unless I say something different. Like, one of the things I'm not going to mention the president. Like, like Marvel and DC, they never really told the president. Although I am giving specific dates. My characters do age in real time. So the issue 1, it has the date right on it. I think it was it was Father's Day, June 16th, 2024 is the literal date. The Patriarch's age was 45. So I'm going to keep I'm not going to keep, I do keep a record. So like issue 2 is literally June 17th, 2024. The Patriarch story. The Mary Sue story, I forget exactly the date, but I'll put the dates in it so you can keep track. Now, the Patriarch number 1 is a couple of months after Heroic Tales number 2, but it goes back to 2000 to his origin. And, so he has a different costume. He's skinnier. He's not as bulky. He doesn't have the beard. He's, more baby faced because he's like a 22-year-old, I hate to say kid, but he's a 22-year-old, naive EMT at the time. That was his job before he became the Patriarch. And you'll see his wife. She's got like bigger hair, unscarred, things like that. Before the kids, literally the day he became the Patriarch was the day his wife gave birth to his first kids. The 90s animated series Brainiac was great. The 90s animated series was some of the best comic. I said that the Batman animated series is my favorite Batman. A good point about evil doctors. The Crime Doctor is an awesome underrated villain. I love the freaking Crime Doctor. It's a hokey name, but it tell me Crime Doctor. Like, it's like a horror movie in a comic book villain. It's so good. It's so good. I love Crime Doctor. Tony Grigo, how you doing, Tony? John, in your comic book world, are there any mentions made to ancient strong like Gilgamesh, Atlas, or Hercules? Funny that you said that. Arkham here is drawing just that right now. And in a future issue, we will be going into the prehistory of humanity. Remember, my comic is a mix between superheroes, Dungeons and Dragons, and H.P. Lovecraft. And Lovecraft loved his ancient civilizations. So yes, one of the background stories that you'll never get is everything is a mind, body, soul. Mind, body, soul. You'll start seeing that. There's ancient civilizations that one ancient civilization mastered the secrets of the mind, another ancient civilization mastered the secrets of the body, and another ancient civilization mastered the secrets of the soul, and the conflicts that arose in prehistory and things like that. So yes, there will be Gilgamesh, Atlas, Hercules. Captain Atlas is the main superhero. You know, he's the big kahuna.
He's also isn't he the oldest superhero as well?
Correct. He got his powers. He was a fighter pilot during the Korean War. His plane got hit by a meteor, took him down, and he survived as Captain Atlas. And he was 45 when he got his powers. So he is, I forget the exact age, but he's the oldest active superhero right now. Captain Atlas, and he's by far I like the superheroes to be on the weaker side. It makes more drama, but he is so overpowered it's ridiculous. But I think his weakness more than makes up for it. So anybody else? I don't want to leave while Arkham is gone, and I wish Arkham would come back so I could fill up my coffee. But Heroic Tales 2 is the files are at the printer. The cards are right here. So this is I printed up 7 cards, and I think that's going to be the way to go, because selling 7 cards for $10, I think that's fair. And then individual cards for $2 a card, I think that's fair. So I made and paid for 20 cards for this character because there's a whole bunch of cameos between the 2 stories, but I didn't print up all the cards. So I got cards prepaid for and made for the next 2 comics. And Arkham just made the card art for his character that I'm not telling the name or anything yet until the male and the female are made. But that I like having the cards. And again, we got a bunch of people watching. Thank you for watching. People were busting chops on the guy who did the backgrounds for my cards. So I will bring this up. Don't bust his chops, bust my chops. This is Dr. Robug from first issue. Beautiful art by Daniel doing the color, Renzo doing the art. And then on the back is literally his character sheet. That's what the character sheets look like for Villains Vigilantes. Renowned did it for me. He did it exactly what I asked him to do. But I don't think I made it clear enough that this is the character sheet. So if you buy the Villains Vigilantes role-playing game, you get a character sheet. So here is Island of Dr. Apocalypse, an adventure for Villains Vigilantes. And I'm just going to show a character sheet so you see what I'm talking about. Okay, so come on. Okay, so this is the character sheet. You know, so here is Dr. Apocalypse. You know, I condensed it as much as I could to fit on a card. And there you go. This is the same format. So if you're confused, I'm sorry I didn't explain myself well. Oh, this will show. This is the sequel. This is Bill Willingham's artwork. And let's get a character sheet. This is the Iron Maiden. I love that character, but when he brought her into the Elementals, he had to change it. So here is character sheets. Annihilator. It's literally the same format as the cards. So don't bust Renowned's chops, bust my chops. You know, people want to bust his chops because he likes it. What was that?
There was a video started in the.
Oh, I thought it was a ghost. So there you go.
Yeah, my ghosts like to come out every now and then.
Okay, with Tony Grigo, what are your thoughts on the progressive casting on Christopher Nolan's Odyssey film? It's dead in the waters as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to see it. Everybody's up in arms about cultural appropriation. Athena is described as the pale, white, gray-eyed goddess. And then they cast a beautiful woman. I think I can't pronounce the woman's name, but she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. I love looking at her. She's like sculpted it to be like this beautiful. She has that beautiful, creamy, dark skin. She's absolutely good, but she's not Athena.
No.
And to me, that shows that they're disregarding the source material. Dead in the water.
Not only that, all right, this is Christopher Nolan, right? Supposedly. I don't think it's Christopher Nolan. I think it's just using his name. Swords aren't period. Costumes aren't period. The boats aren't period. Nothing is period about this. It looks like shit.
Oh, really? I didn't even.
Yeah.
Once I saw that she was
Yeah.
cast, I haven't paid any attention.
Yeah, the costumes are horrible. Not quite as bad as Witcher 4 bad, our Witcher TV show, but it's up there. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's dead in the water. I mean, if that's like casting Jerry Lewis as Superman. It's just some people should not play certain characters. I'm sorry, she's a beautiful woman, she's a talented actress, but she's not right for Athena. And to cast her as Athena is just making a statement.
Oh, it's just done for political statements. That's it.
Right. And so that just shows me that it's compromised, Just like I don't want Jim Carrey to play Anastasia the Spider, if we make a movie about the African divinity.
I did like Anastasia.
Or don't do it. As my father used to say, shit or get off the pot.
Did you watch American Gods?
No.
There's an actor, a little too much gay crap in there for my taste.
That's what everybody told me.
But that was a lot. But the actor that they had to play Anastansi, fantastic. And I loved his constantly butting heads with Odin because of the way he treated Thor. And Thor was the only white person or god or whatever that Anastansi ever liked. And it's good, but it's so deep into the wokeness that it spoils the rest of it.
Right. I was looking forward to Sandman, and I'm like, I can't watch it now.
That wasn't even Sandman. I don't even know what that was.
I can't watch it.
Just like that wasn't Preacher.
Yeah, the Preacher. This is gonna. I'm gonna get clipped and made fun of saying this, but I'm really tired of Seth Rogen, a Jewish man, taking an inherently pro-American, pro-Christian story and then destroying it. Can you imagine if Christians took Jewish stories? Oh, let's do Masada, and they're all incestuous cannibals or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, why did Jewish producers get to, and that's one of the reasons why I'm making my Origin of Santa Claus story, because I want it to be true to St. Nicholas. Now the Odin stuff I'm making up. Let's be realistic, but the St. Nicholas stuff is literally the biography of St. Nicholas, and there's so much to it that I have to tone it down because there's just too much cool St. Nicholas stories that I couldn't possibly put it in a book. Do you think of the latest DC Marvel crossover? Did you get Batman? I don't get any new Marvel or DC stuff. To me, it smacks of desperation. They literally did it in 1998 out of desperation, but I hear good things about it. I'm rooting for them. I don't want Marvel or DC to go out of business, just like I don't want my ex-girlfriends to have any bad news or bad accidents or anything like that. I want them to flourish in their lives, but just that we have no business together anymore. Good luck. I wish you the best, but I'm over here now. That's the way I look at Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. They hurt my feelings, Arkham. They hurt my feelings.
They broke my heart.
Right. They broke my heart.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the deconstructions are getting tired. I'm just so tired of the stunt casting in one direction.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're Frank Miller because Frank Miller deconstructed Batman, and then of course Alan deconstructed with Watchmen and stuff like that. Everyone tries to make those the mainstream comics instead of being the satellite comics that they should have always been.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
And I've been saying for years, I'm the guy who doesn't like Dark Knight Returns. I didn't like it, but I love the Watchmen because that's his own characters. Yes, they're the Charlton characters, but ultimately they're his own characters. You could do whatever you want. Break your own toys. That's fair. Whatever. But that's Dark Knight Returns. I didn't like it, even as I was getting. I'm like, it was one of those things I just kept quiet. Am I the only one who doesn't like this? And then by the time Superman showed up, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Like Superman should be treated with respect, And the boys I don't like. I got the comic because I'm a stickler because I like Garth Ennis. I really like Garth Ennis. And he doesn't like superheroes. So he made a comic book with what if the superheroes were the bad guys? Keep in mind, it came out 15 years ago. It was kind of like, okay, that's edgy, but it's right. Now it's just, what if, I don't like my father, so everything good is bad. America's bad. This is bad,
And you think that's bad enough. The TV show did that, then turned up to 11.
I'm sure.
on season 3 and up. It was almost like verbally and visually gag reflex on
Yeah,
season.
I from what because what's his Eric Kripke, Eric Kripke, the first 4 seasons or the first 5 seasons of Supernatural were brilliant. And he tied it together with a bow. Perfect. Show should have ended right there. Then it just became Monster of the Week, and they would introduce cool concepts and then change those cool concepts because the fans like this character, so we're going to keep him around even though his story's over, so we got to change the story. Like Chuck the Prophet was perfect as Chuck the Prophet. Then Chuck became God, and of course God's the bad guy. It's they just spun their wheels too much. So this guy is going to take superheroes, and where superheroes the bad. I was like, this is just going to be what is the Homelander? I don't even know, but how much one of it is the Homelander Trump?
Yeah, they not only that is they gave him direct quotes.
Yeah.
I mean, direct quotes. It's just like, dude, you're not even trying. You're pathetic.
Yeah. So I don't need that. I started reading the comic and I started getting that bad feeling in my stomach that I get now when I read Love and Rockets, and I don't pay to get that feeling, but I'm such a crazy person. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, don't be like me. Don't keep buying the comic books because you're a crazy person. I kept buying The Boys, but I didn't read it. And I did the same thing with Preacher. I got up to issue 8 of Preacher, and I'm like, this is just too violent for me. I don't like this, but I kept buying it. And then I sat down and I read Preacher almost in one sitting, like a week. It was a redemption arc. It was a slow redemption arc, and it turned out to be very patriotic. The religion stuff, it's edgy freshman college edgy stuff, but it redeemed itself. The Boys, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if they did the final reveal of who the ultimate bad guy is. It's just like, everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. I read it because I paid for it, and I have to read my comics.
I honestly hated the ending of the Boys comic book. I'm like, it just felt like, because it's just like, it felt like at the end everything was for nothing.
Right.
It was just like, this felt like a waste of time.
Yeah.
The ending should have been,
there was
give us food for the future or tie it up in a bow and let us go.
The only good thing was Starlight and Wee Yui ended off together happy. That was it. Other than that, everything else sucked. Sorry if I spoiled it, but I'm sure the comic book won't be the same. John, what are your thoughts on how radically James Gunn changed both the Peacekeeper and AG? I don't know. I'm not watching it. I don't watch DC. I watched the Superman movie. The last DC movie or anything DC I watched was Wonder Woman because my friends all wanted to go and I didn't want to be the jerk who said, I don't want to go see this. So, and I ended up really, really liking it. My criticism with the Wonder Woman movie were the CGI at the end was rushed and terrible. Looked like a bad video game. But other than that, Wonder Woman was wonderful. I didn't see the second Wonder Woman movie, and I hated Man of Steel so much that I was done with anything DC. So I didn't watch the James Gunn TV shows and stuff like that. I like the Charlton.
I watched the new Superman, about 15 minutes of it.
I liked the new Superman movie because it was just an issue of Justice League International, the Bwahaha Justice League. It was a popcorn movie. I could see all the flaws in it. I could see why people didn't like it. I'm not going to get mad if you don't like it. Like the Snyder guys get really bizarrely mad when I say I don't like the Superman movie.
Well, they're weird.
But I could see why people didn't like it. I liked it. It was the most superhero-y movie. They could have just got rid of Hawkgirl. She served no purpose. They diminished the character of Hawkgirl.
I just needed a Superman movie to be a Superman movie, not a Justice Society or any other kind of movie.
But I liked it. I
just couldn't get past the argument. Lois and Clark in the room. I'm like, this doesn't sound like them, right? The conversations.
I with the argument. She was being a journalist,
right? But
she was asking uncomfortable questions.
But now, she already knows who he is, right?
But he, as Superman, he reacted poorly.
Yeah.
That's my problem. He reacted
I don't blame David Cornsweet at all. I thought he himself is a good Superman, right? He's no Henry Cavill, but he's no schlump either. I thought he looked good as a Clark. And
I didn't like him at first, but he kind of won me over at the end. I didn't like Supergirl.
Yeah, that was horrible. I hated Crypto. It's like, what'd you do to Crypto? He's annoying. I love dogs, and I'm like, I would not want to be around this dog.
Yeah, it's irresponsible. The dog is supposed to be super intelligent, so he's, you know. But I like Lex Luthor. But again, Lois Lane asking those questions, I was like, okay, she's being a good journalist. Superman should have had the super emotional control to not react the way he did. That was a flaw, if you ask me.
Yeah.
That diminished Superman. But again, my biggest criticism of the Donner movie is, you could time travel and people still die. I only use my time travel when it affects me personally. You know what I mean? Like that's one of your powers there, Superman. You're only going to use I only fly when it affects me personally. You know what I mean? Like that Superman now has the power to alter time in the original Superman movie. I only use it when it benefits me. And I thought that fundamentally diminished Superman. Even as a kid, I was just like, why is there anything wrong when this guy can time? Like, you have to limit the super beings.
It should have took a toll on him, right? It should have, like, he was down for a week after doing that or something to explain why it's something he can't do. Just anytime any book, comic, movie, anime, whatever, pulls out the ex machina to change something, and that's on tap. It's like, why isn't it this way all the time?
Right. Like, you'll see the Mary Sue. I'm hoping people get it. I'm really nervous that people might not get what's going on, but she could rewrite possibilities. Now, why doesn't she just do that all the time? Because it's the butterfly effect. If she writes the possibility and you don't get hit by the car, that car swerves. Does it hit somebody else? So why does she doesn't want to have the ability? Do I decide that you live and that guy dies? You know what I mean? And that's what she says. I'm not God. And then so she uses the possibility to do this. Okay, so the car swerves, it doesn't hit you, but now it hits this oil tanker or a school bus. It causes a bigger disaster because she used her power. Then she fixes it, and that causes something else. And you know what I mean? So
chain reaction.
So she has the ultimate power, but she doesn't have ultimate foresight. So, she doesn't want to use her powers, and she will use her powers, much to the consternation of other. And she's the only one who remembers if she changes things. So she's gonna be like, nobody knows how bad I just messed up. Oh, Mary, you're the best. And that's going to make her feel guilty. Poor Mary.
You changed my life. It's so much better. I'm like, yeah, too bad you don't remember your kids.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Good thing you don't remember your
kids. If superheroes were evil, they would be villains. It's not as revolutionary as you think. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. I don't know. I whenever I read any story, I want there to be a person to root for, which is ironic because I literally have 3 stories in the works where there's nobody to root for. Tack loves art. How you doing, Tack? Love Peacemaker and Vigilante. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch the shows, but Arkham, you want to talk for a second while I fill up my coffee cup?
Sure. When you were talking about magic and using somatic and what are the other components? Material, somatic, and verbal. If you ever, there's a manga anime called Full Metal Alchemist, and I loved the way they had their powers done. Do I have something on my lip? Nope, it's just growing in darker there. Like, for instance, there's a guy who control flames. He just can't generate flames, so he has flint and steel on his gloves. So he just snaps his fingers and ignites it, and then he shoots the flame out. I like power sets like that where there's a limitation. You can't just Full Metal is one of the best written anime, manga, comics, period, in my opinion. Even if you're not an anime fan, you can enjoy Full Metal Alchemist 100%. Brotherhood specifically. It's fantastic. I can rewatch that and reread that over and over again. I was talking about.
I was listening. I could still hear it. The coffee pot told me right over there.
Yeah, and I like that. Like, to do something big, you need to prepare for it, right? Like the whole premise of the show is these two kids that their father is gone. They live with their mom.
Oh, I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It was
okay, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. It's so well, and that just like that, they try to bring their mom back. They have the ability to do so,
and it literally cost them an arm and a leg.
Yeah, and again, their mom came back, kind of. You know, everything has a cause and effect in that show. Even the good guys, even if they need power, it can lead to bad things, and I love that. And I love the fact when you find out the history of their world and how it's been manipulated over time. Yeah, I heard One Punch Man, but I heard the art because it's no longer Madhouse Studio or Mappa is doing One Punch Man. I heard the animation is horrible, which is horrible because the manga artist is one of the best in the world. I mean, the One Punch Man art, once you get into like, once he starts hitting his stride during the Monster Association arc towards the end, the art is immaculate. It is the way he does perception through like space and powers and how he like punches the ground and actually tilts up the edge of the continent. The way he draws it, it's so believable. And even though you know it's physically impossible, you know what I mean? It's awesome. If you ever check out the art, go for it, John. You'll love it.
Yeah, I want to watch My Hero Academia and One Punch Man. Those are the ones repeatedly people tell me to check out.
My Hero is done, right? So I mean, the anime is still going on, but the story's done, finished to end. One Punch Man is still kind of lingering and doing its thing, and it doesn't get updated nearly as much as it should, in my opinion. So if you want a complete story where you can finish it and you're like, oh, okay, that was good, I'm done, wipe my hands. My Hero, 100%.
Okay.
If you want something that you have to wait 5 months for a new issue or 3 months for a new issue every now and then take your time with One Punch. There's no hurry. But My Hero is very good. I liked it a lot. It lulls in season 2, beginning of season 3. Even in the manga, it lulls a little bit. But once the story starts ramping, it's incredible. And the characters and how they treat their characters. Like there's an American character. Her name is Stars and Stripes. I love it. Her first appearance, she is literally standing on top of a what are the new stealth bombers? The B stealth bomber. And 6 stealth fighters on her side. And she's just standing on the stealth bomber, red, white, and blue costume while they're flying to Japan. And she's sitting there with her arms crossed going, you know, because that's her mentors from Japan. She goes, I'm coming for you, boss. And I'm like, that's how, and like the president, she didn't ask the president for permission. She goes, because you tell me no. Now I can only ask for his forgiveness.
Right.
And I loved it because she knows that's her mentor who, and the whole country, Japan, is about to lose. And she's like, well, I can't just stand here because we are Americans and we're not going to let that happen. Even though they couldn't do it, they did it anyways. And I'm like, I love that character.
Sorry, I thought you were done. Tony Grego asks, who's your favorite Watchman? Rorschach. Why Rorschach? He's the only one who doesn't compromise. Rorschach has a set of ideals, whether you agree with him or not. He's the good guy. He stand the truth. I will tell the truth. It doesn't matter. The truth is more important. We'll figure it out. You know,
I like the whole ensemble. I can't take a favorite out of Watchmen because each one's a key piece. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. But yeah, I like them all. My second favorite would be Dr. Manhattan. Such a fantastic.
Oh yeah, he was great
character. But there's something about Rorschach. Literally, my character, the Public Eye, is an homage to Rorschach. You know,
even at his death at the end.
Do it.
It was do it. I will say I kind of like the idea that the movie presented a little bit more than Alien Invasion.
The movie is better. The movie is better.
And it takes the dark sails out of it. And I thought the dark sails was totally not necessary.
The squid was the weakest part. I mean, space invasion to unite everybody. But in the movie, they make Ozymandias a better villain. He ties everything up and gets rid of and defeats Dr. Manhattan. Ultimate badass. Who's my favorite Squadron Supreme member? I like Hyperion. I just love that costume. I love that name. I love the Greek mythology. I love that he's a Superman ripoff.
Did you read Hyperion and Thor's like kind of, I mean, non-gay, but their bromance towards the end before Secret Wars, before the whole Marvel universe kind of came to an end?
Like around 2014?
Yeah, like it was him and Thor waiting. Like Thor's missing an arm, missing an eye. They're all beat up. They're both sitting on an asteroid, talking about life and what it is to be a warrior, waiting for the Beyonders to come through a rift and go like, all right, this is how we die. And he's like, I'd rather die with nobody else. And both him and Thor just go straight at the Beyonders. That scene was so well written.
I don't know. That was probably around when I gave up reading Marvel.
Yeah, that was right at the end of it was what's his name? Jonathan Hickman. It's when he did his Convergence, because the Beyonders were destroying the universe.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, that's that. If I find it, I'll tell you what issue it was in. It was
Tell me.
I read that and I was like, I love this. I want a buddy cop with these two guys. I want this. It was very reminiscent of Thor, Beta Ray Bill, how their camaraderie is. That's what it was with Hyperion and Thor, and it was very good.
Anybody have anything else to say? We've been talking for 2 hours. I want to go while I got this Cafe Bustelo energy flowing through me. Start through comics again.
Oh, and John, the Brainiac I was letting you know about, that was Superman 867 through 870, I believe. It's that Brainiac story, and it's Jeff Johns writing. And try to remember who the artist was. Not Fitch, but somebody around that level, like supreme level of art.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a guy that, it's the artist that's doing Rook right now.
What year is that?
Let me see if I can find it. It's just called Superman Brainiac. That's all it's called. Let's see. Brainiac, Superman fandom. Let's see here. I just looked up Brainiac Superman comic where Paul dies, and that's what brought it up. And it's so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So anything you want to say before we go?
Nope. You have a good one, boss.
You too. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for checking in this spur of the moment thing. I just needed to get this stack on video so I could put everything away, and I'll be spending the rest of the night eating. Maybe I'll heat up some bagel pizzas or something like that and putting comic books away, blasting some old punk rock in the back room. So thanks a lot, everybody. And I guess Heroic Tales is at the printer. I'm hoping that by not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I'll be fulfilling comics. I gave, I put a couple of projects on hold. I just wanted to focus on getting this print file done and everything like that. So I gave all the artists, go ahead, let's get going. We're gonna get, art should be flooding in pretty soon. Rod Mosicki just showed me page 2 of the story Curtains that he's doing. This is by far the goriest story I've ever written. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's just, it's Batman Punisher mix kind of guy who's just unhinged. Like, you don't want the Raven in your neighborhood. It's just, you might get hurt in the crossfire. But the less I say, the better. All right, but thanks a lot, everybody.
Have fun, guys.
Bye, kids.